around me. I've been a voracious news consumer from a very young age, insofar as like consuming the news goes, and trying to contextualize it for myself and trying to understand what is going on in the world around me and why it matters, and what I should think about and why I should care. And certainly I still do care. But by the same token, it's kind of like I still need to be able to sleep at night. For the short hours that I do get, I still need to be able to rest. I still need to be able to. I don't know. Like it's rough, right? So I've been trying to strike this balance between being engaged, informed, with it, productive member of society, with also being a happy person. And it sucks because like I feel like if I'm not constantly up on what's going down, I feel like I'm being irresponsible. But by the same token, like I said, I need to be able to get some rest. I don't know. It's something I'm struggling with right now. What I want this show to be, in any times that I'm feeling like that, is something where you can turn to and get uplifted. I know that sometimes the show is entertaining just simply because it's me spouting my mouth off and ranting and rambling, raving, going on, getting real upset about people not flushing the toilet properly in a shared bathroom. There will still be some of that as time goes on. What I've become more and more aware of what this show is, and I think I said this last week, is that this is like, it's like my personal blog. It's my journal that I share with the few of you that listen every single week, and I appreciate that you do. Sometimes that's going to mean, though, that this show is going to take on different tone and different tenor based on how my mood is. Sometimes it's going to be funny. Sometimes it's going to be rather sad. Sometimes it's going to be informative. Sometimes it's just going to be silly. It's always going to be me giving my personal feelings on things, my personal take on the world around me. I'm going to keep on keeping on with that. So this week I'm going to talk about some things that I'm excited about, some things that I find hope in. And top that list right now is the World Cup. We're entering the World Cup knockout stages starting tomorrow morning, Saturday morning, if you're listening to this when I've released it on Friday. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the World Cup. We're going to talk about the group stages overall, just sort of how they shook out. You know what? I'm going to put them out there. I'm going to put them out there. My predictions for the round of 16 right after this. Hey, do you guys know what's another word for Schadenfreude? Or, like, really, like, what's a word for, like, Schadenfreude, but, like, plus another 50%? Like, Schadenfreudier? Super Schadenfreude? I don't know. Whatever that word is, the Brazilians must be feeling it over in Russia right now, because we've just exited the group stages. We're moving on to the round of 32 in this year's World Cup, or rather the round of 16. 32, jeepers. That's what we just left, technically. So the round of 16, the knockout stages, win or go home. This is the business end of the tournament. And, man, those group stages were weird. Weird and wacky and just crazy. A whole bunch of stuff going on. In a year where the United States failed to qualify for the first time in my lifetime, 32 years, the year where the Italians failed to qualify for the first time since 1958, the defending champions, the Germans, did not even make it out of the group stages. They don't get to play anymore. They're on the plane back home. They are back on their way to Frankfurt or wherever it is that their plane lands. I don't actually know where they're landing. Germany did not play well. They did not score enough goals, and they were drummed out of their chance at defending their world championship quite soundly. So we're into the knockout stages here. I'm going to go down the brackets here, tell you what I'm thinking about what's going on for each of these matches, tell you what I think who I think is going to win. So starting tomorrow morning, Saturday morning, June the 30th. We've got France versus Argentina in the earlier game. Both teams kind of failing to kick it into a higher gear. I actually had this as my third place in my original brackets when I had picked from the group stages onward. Obviously, a lot of things didn't shake out the way that I thought that they would in the group stages. Honestly, like both of these teams, Argentina just kind of snuck in. Lionel Messi not scoring a goal until like the final match of the group stages, just barely giving them the opportunity to move on through after having a fairly embarrassing draw to Iceland, and also losing in the group to Croatia. Honestly, I think that Argentina. You're kind of gonna see Argentina turn it on for at least this first round, and I think you're going to see a different Argentina. So I think Argentina is going through in that match. Tomorrow afternoon, the afternoon game is Uruguay versus Portugal, which ultimately I think this is going to be the match that you're going to want to watch tomorrow. If you have to choose one, I would choose the afternoon game, just simply because I think that this is going to be a much more open game, whereas France Argentina is going to be a little bit more cagey. Kind of has a bit of a boring sort of result written all over it. Uruguay versus Portugal, though, it's kind of just going to be a question of who does something crazy first, Luis Suarez or Pepe. That's what it's going to basically come down to. Of course, Suarez and Cavani have been playing really well for Uruguay. Portugal is starting to come alive. Of course, Cristiano Ronaldo is always a threat. Honestly, I've got Portugal tipped to go through, but really this is the one that's out of all of these brackets, it's the one that I most have as a coin flip. Going to Sunday in the morning game, we've got Spain versus Russia, and if there's a game that I would be willing to skip from these early games, I honestly think that this might be the one. I think Russia has scored, I think, like equivalent, equal goals for top scoring team at this point in time, largely in part due to that 5-0 victory on the opening match of the tournament. I think Russia is in for a rude awakening. They haven't really been tested. I mean, obviously they lost to Uruguay, but like they haven't played a Spain yet, and this is going to be a Spain that's going to be like looking to break well. Of course, David De Gea had made some weird mistakes in goal for Spain through the group stages, so I think they're just going to be trying to minimize any bad feelings and just really push to go forward. Later that afternoon, Croatia-Denmark. Again, I think that this one's a pretty open and shut case. I think it's going to be Croatia all the way. Denmark is not a fantastic team by any stretch of the imagination. I think it's a pretty easy Croatian win. Monday in the morning. This is going to be probably the match of the round in a lot of ways. Brazil versus Mexico. You've of course got Felipe Coutinho playing out of his skin. Realistically, outplaying Neymar in a lot of ways. Neymar spending a lot of time just like, I mean, he's the marquee player. So anytime that he does anything at all suspect in terms of going down off of a bit of a weak challenge, everybody's going to be looking at Neymar. And of course, Mexico proud tradition of football fandom. This should be an absolute belter. At the very least, the crowd should be really, really hot for this one, and that oftentimes makes for a very, very good, very, very good football match. I should know. I'm a Liverpool fan. Monday afternoon, we've got Belgium versus Japan. Honestly, like Belgium looked obviously looked very sharp in the group stages, as did England. Neither team was really challenged in the group stages. Neither England nor Belgium was really challenged at all. I think that Belgium has it in them to beat Japan and go through, but I actually, by the same token, wouldn't be surprised to see it go the other way. I'm personally, I am going to pick Belgium here. I think that they have the strong. I mean, they got KDB, man. Like, there's not a whole lot you can do about that. KDB, Courtois, and nets. Like, it's one of those things where I think Belgium is going to just going to have the head and shoulders bit more of talent and class to outclass Japan, but Japan could sneak one pretty easily, nonetheless. Tuesday, the last two games of the round of 16, we've got in the morning Sweden versus Switzerland, and I think I kind of take it back insofar as the game that you can skip. That's the one that you can skip right there. Honestly, this one's a bit of a pick-em. I'm going to just sort of say Switzerland because Xherdan Shaqiri and Granit Xhaka are real good players, and I think Sweden is happy to be in the knockout stages. I mean, so are Switzerland, but I think that Sweden are just sort of smiling politely and happy to be there. Colombia, England. This one on Tuesday afternoon is one that I'm really looking forward to. I think I even am off that day and can watch it live. Anyhow. Just an absolute should be an absolute belter. Of course, England have Harry Kane, who's really gunning it for that gold boot. As long as this one doesn't have to go to penalty kicks, I think England could pick this one up and make it all the way to the quarterfinals, and then basically. What would you be looking for? Just looking at my picks, you'd be looking at a very tasty looking Argentina versus Portugal, Mexico versus Belgium, Spain versus Croatia, and then England versus Switzerland in the quarterfinals. We'll see how that all goes. Hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully, it'll just be a good few rounds of football. I'm looking forward to more and more of it. My plan is to try and catch as many of the games this weekend as I possibly can, because, of course, this weekend is Canada Day. I'm going to talk about my thoughts on Canada Day, my thoughts on the weekend, and a couple of things as we look to close up the episode after this little musical interlude. So about from the age that I understood what stand-up comedy was, I was immediately a big fan of the late, great George Carlin. Which at a certain point, a certain early age there, was probably incredibly inappropriate, but whatever. I didn't turn out too screwed up. I just want to read. I want to read a quote from him really quickly here, to just underline some of my thoughts here on Canada's birthday this Sunday, July 1st. So, quote: "I could never understand ethnic or national pride, because to me, pride should be reserved for something you achieve or attain on your own, not something that happens by accident of birth. Being Irish isn't a skill; it's a fucking genetic accident. You would say I'm proud to be 5'11". Proud to have a predisposition for colon cancer. So why the fuck would you be proud to be Irish, proud to be Italian, or American, or anything?" I'm not proud to be Canadian. I'm not. I hope that doesn't sound, after I've said that, I hope that doesn't sound controversial or strange. I'm happy to be a Canadian. I live in a good nation, generally speaking. A solid B plus at the very